Hi. So I did my presentation on A Worn Path by Eudora Welty, and first I'm gonna give a quick summary of the plot. So the story is about an elderly woman named Phoenix who is on her way to town, and she has to pass many obstacles that seem to try to make her path harder than it actually is, or Phoenix makes it seem like those obstacles are trying to get in her way. And after a while, she also meets a man who does not really believe in her that she's going to make it to town. He's like, "Oh, like you're so old. Are you sure you can make it to town? I think you should probably turn around and go home." And he is also a racist because she is a black woman and he pulls out his gun and everything. But in the end, Phoenix actually makes it to town, and we find out that she is there to pick up medicine for her grandson, who stayed at home. And the nurses at the doctor's office think that she is insane at first, because when she gets there, she forgets why she came all the way to town. Like, it completely, I don't know, faded why she even came. But at the very end, she gets the medicine and she even gets money from the nurses, which she decides to buy a present with for her little grandchild. So the grandson is really important in this story, even though Phoenix is the main character, the grandchild still plays a really big role. So he has problems with his throat due to swallowing lye, so he has like a lot of problems with his neck. So that's why Phoenix comes to town regularly to pick up his medicine. And we do not know what happened to his parents, but we do know that Phoenix takes care of him and raises him as his grandmother. So obviously she's really important to him, and he is also important to her since she passes all the obstacles that get into her way to get to town, and she also wants to buy him that present with the money she got. So she doesn't use the money for herself, but she gives it, or she spends it for her grandson. So a lot of people are always debating on whether the grandchild is dead or not, because at the doctor's office, Phoenix has a discussion with one of the nurses since she lost her memory, why she even came to town. The nurse kind of questions her and asks, "Is your grandchild even alive? Or maybe, like, did he die?" Because she just doesn't remember. So there's two approaches for this question, whether he is dead or not. So the first approach is, does it really matter if he is dead? Because all we know is that Phoenix believes that he is alive, and that should be enough, because she makes all her way to town. And it wouldn't really change the story if he was dead, because the story itself is not about the grandson, it's about Phoenix. She is the main character, and the story is about her journey and her love for her grandchild. And she is so dedicated to provide for her grandson, even though everything might seem to be against her. And this is one of the most important aspects of the story. So basically, it wouldn't really matter if the grandchild was dead. But then there's also a second approach, which is that the grandchild is dead, and considering that, Phoenix's sanity would be questioned. Because one sign that he is dead is that Phoenix lost her memory when she gets to the doctor's office. So obviously that could indicate that her grandchild is not alive anymore, and there could be two explanations for Phoenix losing her memory. So the first explanation is that she is just so exhausted from her journey, that she has temporary problems with her memory, also because she's so old. But then the second explanation is that he really is dead and that she just does not want to believe it, or she could even have Alzheimer's. So we really don't know in this story. So this question, whether the grandchild is dead or not, it adds complexity to the story, because additionally to all the obstacles she has to pass and the man who doesn't believe in her and the nurse who questions her, Phoenix would also have to deal with the loss of a loved one. So the story would just get more complex. So my conclusion is that the plot of the story would not change either way, because the main character is Phoenix, who is a loving grandmother, and she would do just anything for a grandson. So we don't know if he is dead or not, and if he is dead, we don't know how he was killed or how long he has been dead for. And that is also not important for the story, like I said before. But then there's also another way to look at it. Why does Phoenix steal money from the man? Because she actually does. When she meets that man, she steals like a nickel from him, I think. And why does she take that money when she is at the doctor's office? Is it really for the present, or is it maybe for herself? Like, we don't know what she uses that money for at the end. But no matter what, if she was not loving her grandchild, she would probably not make it all the way to town. So we should definitely appreciate her dedication and will to get that medicine for her grandson, and therefore I think that her grandson is still alive.